Hello, welcome to another Formpipe in Focus. Today I've got a very special guest with me, Alex Dowen. He is banking team leader for Partner Enablement. Great to have you with us today, Alex.
Thank you very much, Joe. Nice to be here.
Brilliant. And I understand this is a new role for you. Do you want to tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, sure. So I've been working in the project or delivery team for the past few years, delivering projects to customers, helping them implement our software. So I'm taking on the more management role in terms of bringing in new projects and passing those projects out to the rest of my team. As well as on the partner enablement side, we're building a partner network to help deliver projects in certain regions, and with partners doing our part of the job in the sense of delivering projects themselves and the Formpipe project within banking and delivery.
Brilliant. So in your experience, what is the best time for banks and system integrators to really reach out to us to get the most benefit?
Earlier the better is what I always say. The earlier we get into a project, the better it goes. But I tend to split it down into two different sets. In the banking world, we usually have greenfield banks and brownfield banks, so new banks and old banks. The greenfield banks I prefer to start a little bit earlier, mainly because they sometimes haven't thought about what types of documents they want to produce, as well as how they want to use those documents and where they want to store them. So when we start earlier, we tend to find we get better results in terms of having workshops with the customers to get the documents they want to produce, the data they need, as well as thinking about their core system, because they'll be thinking about the process flows through the banking core. What triggers do we need to generate those documents and come through to us? So sometimes they may not have thought about those journeys, so earlier on it is better. On the brownfield, the more sort of existing banks, I tend to find a little bit later can be a little bit okay, mainly because they're a little bit more used to it. They have their designs for their documents already, so they would have been through that process and they would come to us knowing what data they need, what documents they want to produce. But still, earlier the better, so we can capture as much as we can, is what I find is best.
Excellent. So I know this is a new role for you, but you are actually very experienced already, having been with the company for quite some time. So have you got any advice for banks that are looking to modernize or launch new digital products from obviously a document management point of view?
So I would say start early and think about the journeys that you want to take with those products and how they're being produced and the documents you're going to generate at the end of that process, and what you want to use them for when you're archiving. The earlier you start thinking about that journey and the earlier you start thinking about the data you need, what trigger points you want within the core, the better the flow and the process that we'll have in terms of designing the document, outputting that document, storing it and using it in the way that you want, sending it on to customers, and how those customers are going to interact with those documents through the digital platforms or even through the core when you're producing them.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thanks very much for coming in and talking to us today.
Lovely, yeah.
And thanks very much for joining us on another episode of Formpipe in Focus. If you want to learn more about what Alex's team does, check out our banking page. If you want to get in touch with him, you can fill out the form there. But for now, thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.